Hello, everyone. I'm your host Shashi with you all on Global Women Dialogue Talk Show to create more voice for women and by women. As when we are talking about Global Women Dialogues, we bring speaker from around the globe. And in same series, in the same way, our today's guest, originally from Norway, currently she is studying and pursuing her passion for athlete in USA as well. Mina, she is from Norway. She is Caltrack and field trim, specializing in 800 and 1500 meter. She runs for the Cal Cross Country team. In addition, she is a part of Norwegian track and field team since 2017, as she is running along with that Norwegian national basketball team from 2013 to 2015. As you are hearing from me, she is athlete spirit who is very actively taking part in sports, how she is balancing her education as well as her sport spirit, what way she is having her own motivation and purpose to continue her sports spirit. As many times for women, it's been challenge. How we will hear from her how what ways, what kind of challenge she is having, how she is overcoming, and how she is pursuing in her life by sports and by in her academic as well. So let's welcome our today's speaker, Mina. Mina, welcome on the Global Women Dialogue Talk Show.
Thank you so much.
So, Mina, as we were going through your introduction, and we find you are sportive and athlete soul who is passion for sports, who is inspired with the sports, and who does a lot of sports and run country across as well. So, kindly share about it, how it all started, and as a as a girl, when we talk about sports, we know many times we start as a young girl or very early age, but due to many reasons we are not able to continue our passion or our pursuance for sports, but you are pursuing, so you are really motivational and inspiring for many women and many girls. Please share about your story.
Thank you for asking. I can't remember a life without sports. So I started soccer when I was around 5. And I started because all my friends were playing soccer. Nice. And I played soccer for 9 years. And just because it was fun. And I just remember during my childhood, the only thing I related sports to was it was fun. It was fun. It was a place where I socialized, and it was a place where I felt like I accomplished something. School was never my strongest side, so sports was definitely where I could just let loose and have fun. And then when I quit soccer, I started playing basketball. I started playing basketball with my brothers, where my father is or was the coach. And again, extreme enjoyment and had some form of talent. And so I went on to play for the national team, like you said, which was extremely fun. But basketball is not that big in Norway. And so alongside basketball, I always had this passion for running. During the school competitions, I would always like match up with the fastest boys just to make sure that I beat everyone. And so I tried a track and field practice, and I really liked it. And so when there's in Norway, there's no senior national team. So when the point came where there was no more junior national team, I stopped playing basketball because it was not as good as an environment. Like this socializing factor, which has been very important for me too, was not there. And I got it with track. I went into track and I found my passion and love. Came to Cal, got the amazing opportunity to run for Cal. But I do want to be honest with you. And so with track comes a lot of responsibility, and being a student athlete comes a lot of responsibility. And in the midst of it, I found myself that I lost myself. I lost that having fun. I lost that the important aspects of the enjoyment and socializing, and more it was just so result oriented, which you probably know of the world that we live in today. Always going to perform, and so I lost myself. So being honest with you, I am in the process now of regaining that motivation, finding that enjoyment, and seeking kind of within, is this really what I want to do? Because I'm not done, but it's definitely a process that I'm going through right now. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, and when you are bringing all these points, those are really important, crucial, and we are hearing a lot of in media now. We have at least space to speak up about it openly. As recently, you might have also seen in Olympics, you know, how the from result oriented, where as you shared very honestly, and as you experience in your own life, we take sports as a fun, as a joy, as a socializing moment, as a connecting moment, where you perform out of your all those kind of internal motivation, and you perform your best. But when it comes as a pressuring of result oriented, you lose that.
Exactly. That's what I did.
So when we are talking about it, and we are hearing more and more in general, uh, is it you are seeing like is sports, when we talk about sport spirit, whereas becoming more marketing spirit about the bringing this pressure on the people and all those players when they play, that they need to market about the particular country, about the particular game, uh, and that kind of pressure more suppress their feeling and sport spirit.
So what is your question?
So when we are seeing it, what way you are seeing it? Is it more because of marketing or pressure? What way you see it's like when we are talking about this kind of pressure? Is it like moreover trying to show in the world scenario, or how you see it?
Well, from my own experience, I definitely know that the pressure is a lot from within. It's this, in Norway, we call it a good girl syndrome. And you always have to do well in everything. And at the end of that road, it's a burnout and no motivation and loss of self. So that's what I've at least experienced, is the internal pressure. But it's the internal pressure to meet the external pressures that you think is out there. But at the end of the day, people don't really think a lot about what you do. Like, we're so caught up with what we do. So I would say with my experience, internal.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we are talking about as a woman, as a small girl, where you brought your, sport spirit as a just game, and just want to play with your friends, want to do socialing. How you see when in current scenario, if may I ask you, when you play a game, what kind of feeling comes?
Good question. Just extreme presence, where you forget about time and space and any worries, that whatever's happening in this game right now, that's life right now. No, it doesn't matter what's going to happen or what has happened. And it's an extreme form. If we want to define freedom, that's a type of freedom for me.
Yeah. And when you are playing the game, do you feel when the spectators and the audience are playing a role as a motivational factor or the pressurizing factor? How you see it?
It really depends on the coach. It really depends on what type of person you're interacting with, which I imagine you know with what type of boss you have and what type of person that boss is. So I will say that it's very individually based. But from my experience with good coaches, it's pure motivation, and it's beyond that too, because you're with someone who really cares for you, your future, but they care for you as a person too. And the fact that you guys collectively have this bond through track and have a similar just one thing that you guys both love so much, a similar passion, the relationship becomes very special and meaningful.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think as you talk about how the relationship is supposed to be between coach and the players, it's very important. And Mina, when we are talking all about sports, you play different level of games and your life. How you feel when somebody is looking, maybe they don't have opportunity, but they found the opportunity in their future life as a female. How the way you see their growth in that field can be, because it's like you have to be very beginner from very starting. You need to start sports, and many time it has been noticed like that kind of criteria make many girls behind because they didn't get that kind of opportunity in their childhood.
The biggest growth I would want for if we're speaking specifically to women or a girl growing up to be a woman, I would love for her to get to know herself in every form and possible situation, scenario. I would love for her to get to know who she is through that process. And if sports does that for her, if sports puts her in that position where she of course she's challenged, but through these challenges she's coming stronger out of it, then please continue with that.
Yeah, that's very important and as well as inspiring too. So Mina, when we are talking about as a player, you play and you run, what kind of training, what way this challenge it seems like, would you like to share to our audience? Because being a woman and being a player, as well as you are a student too, so I believe you have a lot of pressure, a lot of work. How you manage and what kind of challenges comes around?
Definitely. So I could take you briefly through a day in the life before COVID. So 2 years ago. A normal day in the life, if it's cross-country season, which is it's now because it's fall, we have practice that starts at 6:30 a.m. So I wake up around 5:45, have my oatmeal, and then I rush out the house to go to our locker room where we all gather, and we go from the locker room together to practice. And then we go back when we're done with practice, go back to the locker room, shower as quickly as I can, a snack after practice, and I run off to classes. And I have classes for about 3 to 4 hours in the middle of the day, and with the lunch break in between. And then we also get lunch, luckily, at school, which helps as an athlete, that really one less stressor. And then it may be an evening practice of maybe strengthening, or I go back for treatment. And then after that, I usually do a little homework at school, and then I go home, have dinner, and try to have some form of night routine. So that's kind of a day in the life. And to further answer your question of just how I do meet all the demands of being a student and an athlete, it is, and I'm not going to say I found a formula. I'm not going to say that I'm doing it right now, but it's kind of seeking that balance between wellness, school, and sports. And so that's kind of what I'm aiming for. And so kind of fitting each piece has its space. Right. So that's, yeah.
And when we are talking all about you mentioned seeking a balance and how one can balance when you are pursuing to aiming or pursuing for the being in a sport team, being in some athlete team on a higher position, or being selected as a player, along with that accomplishing your school task, your assignments and all. We hear, and we many times we feel it's definitely challenging, but same time it's rewarding too. How you see in the reward part, if we may ask you, because sometimes we see it's rewarding, but sometimes it seems rewarding, but it isn't, not like that.
Definitely. The biggest reward is good night's sleep. When I'm really balanced, that I can actually have a complete night of a good deep sleep, then I know that while I'm doing something right. Another reward is there's more enjoyment throughout the day that I feel because I'm more balanced. I'm more able to be present. I'm more able to smile and spread joy. So that's kind of my answer and my take.
And recently, I was going through one of the another podcast, and I was hearing about the very famous swimmer. I will not mention the name, but like how he was so focused in his studies. He was in Stanford, and he was very famous swimmer and all. But over a period of time, he was finding like it's kind of routine life he's leading, whereas he's not able to enjoy the other part of students' life, going in parties and hanging around. Like this kind of pressure comes indirectly from your other classmates and your other student side. So whereas he started doing all those parties and all, and slowly he started getting behind in his swimming and all, whereas he was leading, and then he even dropped and he finally lose the game. So how you see that kind of factor when we are talking about students' life, since as you are a student as well?
Yeah, and an American college student where you have frat parties and all of that. Definitely. So it's the sacrifice that they talk about in the business world, in your world, and in the athlete sport. There are sacrifices you have to make in order to, you can't fit everything in one day, and yes, you can decide to go to these frat parties, or you can go to bed and hear the music pounding and kind of just like, it's okay. I'm gonna get a good night's sleep. But at least for me, coming in as a 3-year older than a freshman who came in, that immediately put me in a different group because I was done with that side. So maybe I had a type of advantage, but I've never felt like I've missed out on anything. If I do want to go, then sometimes maybe for the experience, but if it doesn't give anything, which it has not for me, then it's not worth it. So at the end of the day, like, make the decision for you. So
yeah, and when we are talking about that kind of environmental pressure, and you are experiencing and taking your own decision, it needs some sort of your maturity, decision power and all, whereas many athletes, they lose that track, even though they perform in their career line very high. So when we are talking about as a woman, and you are as a woman, do you feel is there any benefit being a woman to be remaining more focused, or it's just how you see it? It's like maybe my understanding. I'm saying maybe because I work more with women.
I think it's very individually based. I've seen some women go crazy and some very focused. But I might be a little biased and say that yes, I believe that we do have a a better coping mechanism, a better way of focusing if we're going to talk generally based. But again, I think it is very individual. But also UC Berkeley, as such an academic demanding school, you have to be that type of focused person in order to actually get through school, both female and male. And so for me, I feel like I am surrounded by like-minded, mostly like-minded people of the right type of focus, at least for academics.
Right. And that's very important when we are talking about academics. So, Mina, when we are talking all about women and all, and you are yourself as an athlete, you are maybe inspiring and motivating for many. So how you see as a, women who is leading, how you define your leadership qualities, it's what way it comprise?
How I see my leadership, or just leadership in
Yes,
general?
your leadership.
How I see my leadership just executed?
Yes. How you see, is it like what way, if suppose you have a group of your friends and where you feel like you are a leader, what way you define your leadership, what it is?
Very good question. The first word that comes to mind is love. And love is such a strong word for me, to show that empathy, to show that care for people around you, or around me, to make people feel seen and heard. That is extremely important for me, to make sure that everyone knows that they have a voice, everyone feels equal. But the biggest one is just spreading love, spreading joy. That's my aspiration. That's who I want to be as a leader.
Right. And I think these are, as you said, love and having empathy and support for others is very strong way to lead. Along with that, if may I ask you, when we are talking about leadership and all, what way you feel women are still require some sort of support or some kind of leadership? What kind of thing you are feeling is required in general?
What type of support?
Yeah, in terms of leadership.
If you seek, you shall find. If you seek, you shall find. And so there's a lot of things out there, but I think you as a female, especially, you do have to, there are a lot of things out there, but if you don't feel like it, you have to seek out. And so on campus, I know there are a lot of support groups, but you have to reach out to be a part of it and to get that support, if that makes sense. So I believe that there's a lot of support, but the availability and just the easily accessibility, we might just need to get a little better with that.
Yeah, because as again, I was reading, and women are better leader. They are good in education. They are good. Their aesthetics are way ahead. But when it comes about, taking steps for themselves, many times they don't vouch or don't speak about themselves.
Exactly. So reach out. That's what I'm saying. Reach out.
Yeah. And when we are talking all about what kind of message would you like to give to our listeners and audience, as a player, as an athlete, as a student, and as well as when you are carrying all your motivation and leadership around you?
I'm going to say what I'm trying to tell myself and learn myself, and that is to learn to listen to your intuition, to really listen to what your body, what your heart is telling you, because that usually is the right thing for you. There is no one right fit all. So please do you, and good luck. Nothing is impossible, but there definitely will be challenges. Everyone has challenges, so it's something about not forgetting about that. everyone is carrying their own baggage. And so with that, just do you and enjoy every day. And be grateful.
Yeah. Very nice. And last but not least, for our young generation, young girls, along with all other our viewers, what way would you like to say, if may I ask you, if you are having opportunity to give a message to younger in terms of sports, what would you say to the girl?
Make sure that sports is fun and sociable. As long as it's fun and sociable, do it. Because or else, like for me, when I got lost, it's a long process finding yourself back. So ensure that you're doing it for the fun of it. Don't lose that focus. It's supposed to be fun. Don't take sports or life too serious. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. So please.
Yeah, I think that's very important to our young girls when they are joining or when they are enjoying, keep have the same spirit the way you are enjoying any sports, any moment right now. And whether you may want to make it career or something, but enjoy that process as well as remain the same spirit, enjoy the reason, the purpose you would join them. And Mina, last, just when we are on the platform of like Women Dialogue, where we are connecting women around the globe, what way, how you see this platform is really, you are seeing, like what way you see it?
I definitely see a collectiveness of women getting together. I see more women standing up. Like the more that are kind of speaking up, the more are following. And so I see a platform that is growing, that has potential, and something that I believe in, definitely. But we do need more. So growing slowly.
Yeah, so true. We are growing slowly, but same time we have the same purpose and reason to grow together and develop together and keep your inspiration and motivation. As our audience and you all here today from our today's speaker, Mina, how she is collecting her inspiration and motivation, how she's bringing back her own reason, the where she started and coming back on the same purpose where she would like to lead in her life further. So I hope you also find your inspiration and motivation. If you have any more questions or comment, please put in the comment below. We would be happy to answer, as well as we would like to see if Mina can answer as well. And find your spirit, find your joy. That's the message, I think, from our today's show we are trying to spread. And with this note, stay together, stay connected, and stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.